As the end of 2024 approaches, I feel as though it's time to take another little tour of my Crown Royal collection and take a look back at the progress I have made over the last 8.5 months since I began collecting. But first, you know what we need to do? We need to roll that intro. In this quick little video, we will tour my very simple and notably small Crown Royal collection, at least by comparison to others that I've seen. And even though I will soon be releasing a How I Built It video update, let's just go ahead and do a little tour and see if I can explain just a few details in the way I collect. First, I try to display my collection in such a way that it makes sense to me, of course, and has a flow that I can understand. So for starters, I break down my collection into the various series, collections, and groups. And then, when possible, I try to start with the oldest or the first release in that series or collection on the right of the shelf, and then move left across the shelf until I reach the most recent release in that series. Let's begin with the Signature Series whiskeys, which happen to include the Fine Deluxe, which was the founder of Crown Royal in 1939, all the way up to the Blender's Mash of 2018. Yes, the Black and the Northern Harvest Rye are also a part of this particular series. Next, we'll talk about the Noble Collection. I now have 8 bottles, starting with the very first release, which was the Cornerstone Blend in 2016, and working left until we get all the way to the Barley Edition, which was the final release of the Nobles, and it ended in 2023. You cannot begin to discuss Crown Royal without discussing the Flavor Series. Crown Royal first introduced maple in 2012, and then through 2019, they had introduced a new flavor nearly, I stress the word nearly, every year. And then 5 years later, after the release of the peach flavor in 2019, Crown Royal introduced the Blackberry Edition early here in 2024. The Master Series isn't really kept in any specific order for me. It's just what I think happens to look good. So the aged whiskeys take up one specific shelf, and once again, from right to left, they are the 18, the 29, the 30, and the 31-year aged whiskeys, with the beautiful golden apple bottle that's aged for 23 years sitting right in the middle. I have the remaining Master Series whiskeys, and they are all on the shelf below, which highlight the Waterloo and the LaSalle editions, along with the cask number 16, taking center stage. But if you look closely, you're going to notice that the Special Reserves aren't on either one of those shelves, and that's because they just don't fit. So I gave them shelves of their own. The SR1 and through the SR3, well, I have 3 different size bottles, and I am waiting on a 375 and 50 milliliter size bottle to be released for the SR4. And as you can also see on the shelves below, I have begun a couple of shelves of the HSBs, or the hand-selected barrel whiskeys. You can also look for a new video coming real soon that focuses on the HSBs and what it took to get your own barrel if you so desired. Now, that wraps up Crown Royal's primary American released whiskeys and the various series and collections that are currently in my overall collection. And those are all kept on display in my bedroom. And next, we will move to my office, where it just so happens I keep the rest of my collection. Starting with what I like to call the foreign shelves, we have my 3 Canadian poker editions. One has the red interior box, and then those are followed by the Canada 150 and the Manitoba 150 limited editions. And the Canada releases are proudly rounded out by the Blender Select. Next, moving down, we have the Japanese editions, which include a couple of bottles of 15-year whiskeys, and they are the 15-year vinyl and the 15-year paper. Also in my Japanese section, I have a couple of special editions, one of which is a shoebox, and then I also have a vintage Japanese shoebox with a 1972 tax seal. And since I brought it up, I will also soon be releasing another video titled Tax Seals Explained, hopefully. So please be on the lookout for that. And then the last of the foreign bottles in my collection are these 2 Italian bottles, the 10-year red and the 10-year black letter bottles. One with a very old and battered box and the other with the tin. And as you can see, they happen to surround a Canada 10-year limited blue neck that just wouldn't fit back up on my Canadian shelves. And on the next shelves, I have the 3 artist bags that are available from Crown. I keep a couple of unique bags and their bottles and boxes on a shelf with the Coming to America, the Big Boy Black, and Super Bowl 56. And then down below, we have my only 1.75 liter bottles, which include the 2023 and the 2024 holiday bags, as well as a Diwali, I hope I said that right, bag and bottle. Okay, the military section just happens to be a favorite of mine, as I did serve in the United States Navy for nearly 14 years. I've also included 2 bottles of Jack Daniels that are saluting the heroes of the U.S. military as well. I found that to be appropriately mixed in with Crown Royal. And then the rest of my collection is just a little bit of everything. I have a sports area or sports wall that includes some Green Bay Packers, which you can see has some homemade bags as well as actual Crown Royal releases. I also have Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Texans, and a variety of NASCAR racing, and then just a bunch of other odds and ends for the collection. I also have a few bags featuring Canada. And lastly, I have my 15 rodeo boxes, which does include 2 complete collections. The first collection of 9 boxes, and then the final collection was of 6 boxes. I also have my Christmas tins and boxes, and the only vintage year bottles that I have as well in my collection are displayed here. Well, that just about covers everything in my collection for now. I started this collection in April of 2024, and here we are in December of 2024. And I have become very pleased with the progress that I made this year. I would like to say, as always, thank you so much for watching, and please hit that subscribe button, and we're going to see you again real soon.